I'm Ramona, welcome to my blog. Today we're going to try to do one of the most beloved pies ever, and that is the apple pie. Apple pie with a bit of a twist. That is to say, aside from the apples and the spices and so forth, we are going to interpose a layer of something that should act as a bit of a sponge and deal with the juice in the apples and help you to obtain a perfect pastry underneath your apples as they cook. Okay, with that said, I have here 240 grams of flour, that's about 1 3/4 cups, mixed with a bit of salt, and 240 grams of butter. I'm looking for an extremely flaky crust because that works best with apples. So 240 grams of butter, that's about 2 sticks. And as I said, a bit of salt. Once again, please do not use any sugar in your pastry. That is not done. You don't need that. So we're gonna start by putting the butter in the flour. All the ingredients have to be as cold as you can get them. I just pulled everything out of the fridge, including the bowl and my flour. We're gonna use a pastry blender. I actually prefer using 2 forks, but for experience's sake, we're going to use a pastry blender today. And we are going to aim to blend the flour and the butter. So, as you can see, there are still visible bits of butter there that I don't want to disappear into the flour. I'm gonna stop here now. So we are ready to proceed with the next step, which is adding the water. The water, as I said, has to be added very little at a time and per total as little as possible as you can manage. How do you test if you're okay to proceed with this next step? You pick up a piece of butter from your bowl and you rub it between your fingers. Then you feel your fingers. If there's any grease on your finger, then the butter is not cold enough and you should put it back in the fridge for a while. My butter is, however, cold enough, so we are going to proceed with adding the water now. For this step, I don't like using the pastry blender because it doesn't give me enough control over the quality of my pastry. I like using the forks. And now my pastry is already starting to come together. I can feel it. We probably need one more trickle of water, if that. You see, it's already sticking to the forks like this in clumps, which is a sure sign that you are coming to the end of it. Okay, at this point, for the first time in the process, you are allowed to touch the pastry with your hands. It looks like this. They are already clumps of it sticking together, and now you will use your hands to bring the whole thing together into a ball. Again, you don't need to knead, just bring it together. And that is it. We are making a double crust, well, one crust and one lattice pie. So we'll need to cut this approximately in half. We are ready to start working on the first sheet of pastry, the bottom part. I just took this from the fridge, it's nice and cold. I'm using a lightly floured surface, and it's always a good idea to have a dough scraper next to you just in case this gets too sticky. The more butter you use, the bigger that chance. But butter means flakiness, and that's what we're after. We sprinkle, and then we're going to use this to beat it around a little. Okay, lift your dough, check if you still have flour. If you don't, sprinkle a little more. Sprinkle, don't dump, just a little bit. Then we continue with the other side. Bit more flour, not too much, and don't worry if you can't obtain a perfectly round shape. By the time you trim your pie and you flute your edges and you make your lattice and all that, this is not going to matter. Okay. And now, before we do anything else, we put this back in the fridge for a while. Okay, you are now ready to preheat your oven. This is done at 190 degrees Celsius. And while this gets going, we'll continue with the first part of our filling. The layer that is going to come between your bottom pastry and your apples. And for this, we need a 3/4 cup of ground walnuts. That's about 75 grams. 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. 1 tablespoon of melted butter. One tablespoon of milk. 2 tablespoons of lightly beaten egg. Okay, and a quarter spoon of vanilla mixed with some lemon juice, about 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. Okay, now we mix them all together. And it's going to look something like this. Smells great. And we now bring the pie dish from the fridge and we spoon this on the bottom. Good. We place that back in the fridge now and we will start working on the second part of the filling, the one that involves the apples. For your apple filling, the second part of our filling today, you need 5 or 6 medium apples. I'm using Granny Smith, coated with a bit of a teaspoon of lemon juice. You need 3/4 of a cup of sugar, that's about 150 grams. I'm using brown sugar because I'm using brown sugar in all my sweets. Some spices. I'm using cinnamon today, a teaspoon and a half of cinnamon with a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg and a bit of salt. And of course, a thickening agent, which today for me is just plain flour. But you can also use cornstarch or tapioca or whatever you're most comfortable working with. And we will toss everything until they're very well combined. Okay, this is about as much as I need on my pie. And so I will now put this back in the fridge. We are now ready to work with our second sheet of pastry. Straight out of the fridge, quite cold. We'll start with the light dusting of flour on the hands primarily, but also a bit in the dough. And okay, lift, check under it, there's no flour. Light sprinkling, light dusting of flour. Okay. We will use this pastry to construct our lattes. Okay, I am going to move my pastry to another part of the kitchen so I can bring the pie dish out. I have dotted my apples with a bit of butter, not much, just a little bit. And now we shall proceed with the lattice. I'll bring the pieces from over here. again, don't worry about how it looks at this point. It's gonna be fine. You're gonna have a beautiful pie. This is no longer as cold as it was just a few minutes ago, and as a result it's more difficult to work with. Oops. Okay. Okay, there's our lattes. Now let's look at the rings, see what's in excess, and then we'll put it back, return it to the fridge while we prepare a bit of egg wash. And egg wash is just 1 egg with 3 spoons of ice cold water. I'm gonna brush the lattes with the egg wash to give it a nice shine in the oven. And I've prepared my egg wash. As I said, 1 egg and ice cold water. And you can eat this with a nice cup of vanilla ice cream, or with a bit of cream even, or as is. Now we are going to pop it in the oven. This should bake from anything between 55 minutes and just over an hour. It's a good idea to check the color of the pie to make sure that it doesn't go from golden to brown. Well, that's about it. Enjoy. Share this with someone you love, your family, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. And it was nice seeing you again. Until next time. Bye.